So here's a short story about a subject that really can get a lot of people's blood boiling, especially women. About a guy who ended his relationship with his girl of like 3 years or so because of a dead bedroom. And to no surprise, in the beginning, they were hot and heavy with each other, but then for the last year, next to nothing. And he tried being patient, working with her. Nope, not interested, and finally he's done. And you know what? That's okay because they're not compatible. And a man has needs, is allowed to have needs, and at that point when there's nothing else, can move on. And typically in these situations, when there's a knee-jerk reaction dead bedroom, usually it's three things. One, there could be a true, genuine medical health issue, which a loving boyfriend would try to help his girl with that, but if there's not going anywhere and she's not trying to help, then he has reason to part ways. But usually, the way it works is there's cheating going on. They're hot and heavy in the beginning, he gets comfortable, she gets comfortable, and she's getting it someplace else. Or she likes girls, and therefore she's not hooking up with this dude, and she's coming to terms with that, and they're going to be cheating there. But all the reasons why, at least the cheating part, to end it and move on. Because life is too short, and that's okay. Titled, Am I the a-hole for leaving a good relationship because of lack of SCX from my girlfriend? And a shout out to Ralph for sending this story. He says, Am I the a-hole for wanting to break up with my girl because we stopped having you-know-what? That sounds very shallow when I phrase it like that, but let me explain. My girlfriend and I have been dating for 3 years. We are both 26 years old, and let us call her Emily. We met on a dating app in college and ended up talking and having a lot in common. We enjoy the same things, TV, books, share similar values, same music. Everything was good, and on our first day, we had a great time. And finished the night with me sleeping over, and we had you-know-what. First date, they were hooking up and went all the way. That ain't girlfriend material to me. But he did it. So if this is the girl that would hook up on the first date, certainly it's suspicious. After 2 years of getting on like horny Catholic rabbits, all of a sudden a screeching halt, something's up. We were basically jumping into bed every single chance we got. Went on tons of dates, and soon after we made things official and started dating. The SCX never changed really until a year into the relationship. Oh, my bad. For a year it was hot and heavy. Now 2 years of a dead bedroom. It was as if a switch went off and her sex drive tanked. It turned from SCX once every 1 to 2 days to once a month if I really tried to set the mood. She would never initiate, and if I let it, we would easily not have you-know-what, if not but once every 3 months. So, okay, they started at 23 years old. For the first year, hot and heavy, having a good old time. Great, they're young. But he's saying by 24 years old, screeching halt. At 24, unless she has a genuine medical problem, a health problem, and went to the doctor, and a good doctor diagnosed it and did what he can to help her, something's up. She's getting someplace else. He's the boyfriend that she has to be for social things and stuff like that. Her rock. Well, she has fun with Chad and Tyrone on the side, or she has fun with Jessica and Heidi on the side. Whoever, it's getting to someplace. Well, I talked to her about this and about the issue, and we had no idea what happened. I think she has an idea what happened. We changed her birth control. We tried lots of foreplay. I asked that she see a doctor, but she kept avoiding making an appointment out of laziness, I assume. Okay, so he's trying to work with her. Doctor, something. Nope. Okay, he tried. Well, nothing seems to work no matter how hard I try, and when we talk about it, she says she wants to fix it, but then nothing is ever done. Well, okay, he's made every effort. So maybe she doesn't want to go see a doctor because the doctor's going to say nothing's wrong with her, which would then expose what else could be going on. And I feel shallow for wanting to break up with someone over lack of SCX, but I have needs. I understand most normal couples aren't jumping into bed every 2 seconds. However, once a month is not enough for me. I've been trying to make this work for the past 2 years, but I feel defeated when it comes to the situation. So that is the abrupt ending, but yes, he broke up with her. And he is wondering, am I the a-hole? Am I the supervillain for doing so? And I say, no. He is allowed to have needs. He is allowed to want to have a girlfriend that he's compatible with that wants to hook up on a regular basis. He's not asking for it 3 times a day, but he would like to do it more than once a month or once every 3 months, he said. And even then is tremendous amount of effort. He's been patient. 2 years is a lot of freaking patience. Now, the fortunate thing is the majority of people that saw this story have been on his side. But there were some in there that didn't, and I'm going to read some of those. But he responds to some of these people, so you'll see that. But anyhow, in my opinion, he's been beyond patient. He's been a good boyfriend, and he claims that everything else is good in the relationship, but he needs that thing. But I'm strongly suspecting she avoided the doctor because they're going to say nothing's wrong with her. That, guess what? And by the way, that when I say nothing wrong with her physically, also will determine that she doesn't have depression, because a lot of times depression can really impact sex drive. So, guys, if you're in this situation, you have every right to take care of yourself and move on, because we know darn well that girlfriends will dump boyfriends for a lot less. Now some comments here. One guy says here, not the a-hole. If it's not an active S-word relationship, I got to speak in code, guys. This is YouTube. It's not a full relationship, and you are free to find someone else who wants a full relationship. You're given all the opportunities to discuss issues and get help, and they were all turned down by her. She's happy with how things are, and that probably means there's going to be no change. There's no good reason to accept this as your future. Thank you. Here's another one. This is from a woman who has a problem with him. This young woman says, to be honest, you are the a-hole. As a girl, I feel like you shouldn't be having SCX every week. Some people go months without SCX. Yeah, they're called old. I feel like she doesn't want to. She doesn't want to, and you should accept that boundary. Okay, Your Highness. I don't know where you come from, what your relationship is like, but this guy is allowed to have needs. He's allowed to want that. And once every few months, no. He doesn't have to accept shit. Because as a young man who does well for himself and takes care of himself, he has options. He doesn't just have to accept this like he's been assigned this girl for life, and that's that. He's been above and beyond the Call of Duty and patient with her, and that's that. It's not like she cut off all the lovin' in November, and December he was out the door. No, 2 years he waited. He says, and now here's a response from a woman countering this. This woman who counters this woman, what this woman just said, this lady says, as a woman, I don't think I would cope if I had SCX less than once a week. I don't like going more than 3 days without it, and I often love it twice a day. This is from a woman. You shouldn't make generalizations. Everyone is different, and the number of times each week I have SCX has been different depending on what else is going on in my life. Now my kids are a bit older. My drive is way more than it has ever been. Well, there you go. Now, the guy who wrote this post, he responds to that BIT who was giving him shit. He says, that's fair and understandable. My issue is that it just feels wrong because we went from having no issues with having intimacy regularly to an immediate stop almost for what seems like no reason at all. Any majority of the time when I try to initiate, she says she wants to, but then it just does not happen. It's conflicting, but I can see absolutely where you're coming from, so thank you for your insight. He's being too nice to her. Another one says, not the a-hole. You can break it off, but you'll learn that libidos wax and wane in long-term relationships. She should definitely go to the doctor because she may be experiencing depression. And if you aren't having SCX anyway, she should go off the birth control completely. Get it out of her system and try non-hormonal options like condoms and VCF for the time being. Well, maybe they did do that. He just didn't mention that. But I still think she's avoiding the doctor for a reason. This is a health issue, not a her not wanting to F you issue. I'm sure she is beating herself up over not feeling that drive, but you can't force it or feel super wrong. This coming from someone whose libido is sometimes crazy high and sometimes non-existent, who experiences depression. Notice none of these people want to actually look at the possibility that she could be cheating. The most important thing in a long-term relationship is compatibility, so before you leave her, you should just try a few more things, but you'd be justified if you left her now. It's just sadder. Well, you already left her. And it seems like this guy's really been trying for a long time. And this dude's response is, what else can I try? I do love her and would like to stay, but I have a hard time seeing a future with the issue in that way. We just moved a few months ago, and so she's been off her birth control for a few months, and that's made her SCX drive slightly better, but still very low. So he's been trying. But anyhow, guys, so it's a topic that really gets people's blood boiling, but you got to take care of yourself. And again, it's not like it was an immediate screeching halt in November, and then by fucking the first week of December, he's like, bye, bitch. No, he's been trying. He's been patient. So there's a point when enough's enough. And guys, life is short. Got to take care of yourself. And believe me, if there was some deal-breaking thing that he was doing or not doing or whatever, she'd break up with him. So after being patient and trying, he has a right to leave, as do you if you are in these same situation.